Hi there. In my presentation about the EMMMA-K for Maker Faire Rome last Friday, I planned to talk a little bit about music theory and how it translates into the technology required to make this instrument. But I ran out of time. So I thought that I would make a little video about it and upload it to YouTube. So here we go. What I have on the screen here, if you can see my mouse pointer, is a little software keyboard. Actually a neat little application called MIDI Keys. And it has a unique capability of I can press on the key and get the note. Or it will also show a note being played from another keyboard, like the EMMMA-K, for example. So, what do we have here? This is piano keyboard, of course. Middle C, C3 in the MIDI terms. And we have 12 notes here. We have and this really represents at its base the C major scale, which is this one. So what are these keys for? Well, as you can see, when you go from key to key here, sometimes it's 2 steps, like that, and sometimes it's 1. These are called semitones, and there are 12 semitones that make up what we call the equal tempered scale. What's really interesting, I only just mentioned this now, is between C3 and the octave, 1 octave up, which is 12 semitones up, is actually double the frequency, which is representative of a lot of physics. Because of the way our ear works, it's nonlinear, and therefore we like to hear things in a nonlinear fashion. But you can find lots of information on that on the internet, and I won't talk any more about that because as far as the EMMMA-K is concerned, we don't care about that right now. So here, that's the C scale that I played, and then we also have chords, which are combinations of notes. The simplest C major chord is the C triad. So I'm going to play 2 of these keys on the EMMMA-K and the third one on the keyboard here, just because it's a little hard to do the way I'm oriented here. So the major triad is the root note, C, the third note, which is E, and the 5th note, which is G. So let's play them together. Okay, so that's a major chord, sometimes called the happy chord. Maybe the most common, maybe not. So let's take a little look at the minor chord. So in this case, we start with the 1st and the 5th, and instead of the major, the 3rd, for the major chord, we play a flatted 3rd. Ooh, now you can, kind of sounds like a train whistle at night. But that's the minor chord, and as you can see, it's sometimes called the sad chord. But just one simple little change like that changes the whole feeling and tone of everything. Now, there's also minor scale, a C minor scale. So those are the 2 dominant scales, C major and minor, and they can start on any one of these notes. So there's 12 different keys, if you like. So let's play the minor chord. Now to do that on this piano keyboard is challenging for someone who doesn't play the keyboard very well, such as me. But to do it on the EMMMA-K, well, it's very simple. Trying to get this in view and in focus. We just rotate the dial and we switch it to the minor chord. Well, let's just have a look what that scale looks like. So that scale actually has 3 flatted notes, and when you look at it in sheet music form, the flats notes are indicated in the key signature, which we totally won't get into because I'd be the last person to want to explain that. So how do we oh yes, and I have basically 19 different scales in the EMMMA-K. Some very interesting ones actually, and it makes it really interesting instrument to play because you don't have to actually know how to play the scales themselves. You just have to know how to use them for what you're trying to accomplish. So let's just look at this a little bit of the math, if you like, about the keyboard here. So go back to the major scale. When I play the C root C note, let's call that, let's do this in, this is actually called the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the octave. But let's switch to computer terms and call that the root note or the 0. So every scale starts with 0, so actually we don't have to even note that. But what about the progression? Well, to go to the next note of the scale, which is from C to D, we actually go up 2 semitones. So we don't play that one, we play this one. So to go from here to here is 2. To go from here to here is also 2 via this key. To go from here to here, however, is 1. And to go from here to here is 2. From here to here is 2. And from here to here is, here is 2. And from here to here is 1. So we call these intervals. So the major key is start with 0, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. So that's the notation for that scale. Now, no matter where I start, so let's go back and use the EMMMA-K here. Let's go back to the major scale. Key of C again. Okay, let's start with C sharp, the next key up, this one. Now, don't ask me to play that scale that's in that key on the piano, but watch this. So, has the same sound to it. It's just half a tone higher. And in music, there's a mixture of all these different scales and all these different keys that you can use to give you the sounds that you want. And that's basically how music is formed with different instruments and everything else. Let's play the minor scale, C minor scale. Okay, we start with the root note, which is 0, up 2, up 1, up 2, up 2, up 1, up 2, up 2. So these scales have just been defined and refined over the years. And so what you have to do here to turn this into code is you have to convert those intervals for all the different scales into an actual note to be played. So let's just take a little look. This is part of the code for the EMMMA-K master. You can see here. And let's just have a look at the major scale. So this is just a structure that defines these values, these intervals. So as I said before, you don't need the 0 because it's implied. So as we talked about, the major scale is an interval of 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. And then as we just demonstrated with the minor scale, we have 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, and on it goes. And I picked the 19 scales that seem the most common, if you like. And a lot of these, like pentatonic, there's a minor pentatonic and a minor blues. There's a major pentatonic, and there are, well, let's just say quite a few of them. There's some very interesting ones here that actually come from ancient Greece. And one that I like to mention is Locrian. And I'm going to put some links to a little challenge that was on YouTube that has one of my favorite modern classical musicians involved in it. And it's about Locrian mode. Sometimes these are called modes, sometimes they're called keys. So let's just quickly go down here and see how we turn that into a note. So, oops. It's in here somewhere. There you go. So the note is the value of the scale, the interval, plus the key, C sharp, 0, 1, 2, plus the octave, octave 0, 1, 2, times 12, the semitone. And that's how you form the note. A very, very simple mathematical relationship, which is very fortunate when it comes to writing the code for it. Actually, the whole code for this whole EMMMA-K is, 450 lines or so, which is pretty small. Easy to develop and to debug, and with lots of potential for other things. So, one other to round out the intricacies of this. Let's just take a look between the what are called the relative scales. Sorry, they're also relevant. So the C scale and the A scale are related, as I'm going to show you. The C major scale and the A minor scale. So let's go back and play the C major scale again. Okay? Now, let's have a look at minor, A minor. There you go. So that's a minor key, but look at what's very interesting here. There's no sharps or flats. It uses all the same notes as a C major scale. It just starts on A instead of C. So there are all kinds of relationships like this in music that can easily be translated into mathematical terms, and this is how you turn a keyboard into an instrument, is adding all these relationships. And this is what I was going to talk about on Friday that I never got to. So I hope you find that interesting, and thank you very much for your time.